After the European settlers took over the indigenous land of Turtle Island, they tried to reform the native population by sending the children to residential schools. Their main goal was to take the Indian out of the child. Here, they were taken far from their home and separated from their brothers and sisters. They were forced to not speak a language of their own and practice a religion that wasn't theirs. And when they didn't follow the rules, they faced harsh and cruel punishments. Here, the children faced neglect, mental, physical, and sexual abuse from the Christian teachers. There are over 130 residential schools in Canada, and by the last one closed, over 150,000 Aboriginal, Inuit, and Métis children were removed from their homes and forced to attend. And once they came home, they faced a loss of their culture, unable to talk their native language, perform their traditions, and survive as they once did before. To cope from the abuse, the Aboriginal people turned to tobacco, drugs, and alcohol. But the abuse and neglect carried from one generation to the next and into their family. And some were unable to cope, and it led to extreme choices. We have seen this locally by 19-year-old Brandon Wapoose. Brandon was a drum leader of the Saddle Creek Drummers. He was attending college, and that is where he died of suicide. It is seen that youth coming from the north have issues of racism that lead to harsh choices, or by Nesquiganaga First Nation declaring a state of emergency after the fourth suicide and seventh tragic death in 2 weeks, along with 20 other attempts. The community is a fly-in community 480 kilometers northeast of Thunder Bay. There is a population of 421 people, and 75 is youth population. This community is already faced with other hardships, such as a high rate of prescription drug use, issues of sexual abuse, poor water quality, inadequate police services, and having no access to proper mental health and addiction treatment counseling. Nationally, it is known that suicide rates across Canada are 5 to 7 times higher for First Nation youth, and Inuit youth suicide rates are among the highest in the world, 11 times the national average. In Winnipeg, Sean Hunt, 18, who is known as a leader in the Aboriginal Society and someone who stood up for social justice, died April 25th of suicide, leaving the community without answers. It is seen, not just in Canada, that there is a spike in suicide rates among the Indigenous people. Across the world, and just beyond our border, the Indigenous people have the highest death rate per capita, such as the Indigenous people of Australia, Netherlands, and Africa. For example, the Mabudi tribe of Africa have lived in the Ituri forest for hundreds of years, but after the Rwanda genocide occurred, the Bantu tribe was moved into their area, and the Bantu treat them like filth. The Mabudi is faced with sexual abuse, as it is said the Indigenous woman can cure ailments such as AIDS and back pain. Physical abuse is also seen because they are forced to do labor that is very intensive that the Mabudi will pass out into the field. It is known that their small in stature bodies cannot handle this intensive work because they do have less sweat glands. The Mabudi have high rates of alcohol and drug use due to the coping of the abuse they face. And the Mabudi have the highest suicide and death rate of any African Indigenous tribe. The facts presented are the reason why I chose my project on Aboriginal suicide rates. It is not just seen within Canada. It is seen all across the world that those who are the first people of the land are not treated equally, and they face racism, abuse, and the ways that they have to cope with it is not fair to them. They are not given the proper mental health training or treatment, and they are not given equal opportunity with their rights. That is why this is such an important topic to me, because I've faced this myself. A dear friend of mine have passed away due to not being able to cope, and I feel that it's unfair to them, and it's unfair to the rest of their population that they have to face such hardships. And that's why I was passionate about this topic.